Hello everybody and welcome to a little video series that I'm trying to put together for the new Grok Build harness that came out. I've been looking forward to this for a while. SAI team always releases some interesting innovations that be a little bit different. And I kind of wanted to treat this more like maybe more of a tutorial, slow walkthrough series, kind of a more of a let's play and learn the harness together. Is just released today. And I thought we could go through a video series and kind of explore this Grok Build harness in its beta format. So this video series is called Grok Build Something Beta. And this is the first episode of hopefully many. This is Hello World. Entered into this new world of Grok Build. So without further ado, here we are in this new CLI harness. Right now, I think it's just the CLI that's been released. It's just out for Super Grok heavy users right now. Last I've heard, there is a deal going around. If you want to get access and try this out for a reduced price or even free. And yeah, we're gonna try it out. So you'll see on this is the initial page when you type in Grok in your terminal. I think they mentioned you could do agent as well. Yes. On your terminal, you can write Grok or you can write agent, and you'll get booted into this little welcome screen. From here, you get a couple options to start. You can start a new work tree, which I got to dig into this a little bit more yet because I haven't used it yet. You can resume a session from here with, and then you can also quit. And one of the things you'll notice about this TUI is it's clickable. So these things will highlight. There's also shortcuts here, which I think that's control. Yes, I think that's control. Yep. So control S and control Q and control W for these different W did. I wonder if I need to set more up for it. You get some options out the gate to kind of help you along. You'll see on the bottom right corner, we've got the version number. I believe this is the model name on the bottom right. We only have one model, so I doubt that's where it sticks around. You'll see as soon as we start typing that initial graphic goes away and we just get the normal interface. The other thing that'll pop up then is your context. So out the gate, without sending anything, it looks like the harness takes up about 1% of your context window on system instructions, and that is without a lot of customizations configured, so you can expect that to go up. And yeah, so that's kind of the initial grab. I haven't really dug into how big that window. Well, I was just going to say, I don't know how big that context window is, but when you hover over it, you'll find that it's 512,000. So it's not the full million or 2 million we've sometimes have seen from Grok harnesses. And I know Cloud Code has 1 million now, but the Grok Build model is a 512,000 context window, and we'll see if it performs well for that full window. I personally don't love running agents past 200K. It's just a little preference of mine through enough use, but models could be a lot better now than they have been. So that might be something that we'll kind of see if maybe we can use more of this context window. See. If I didn't mention already, top left, we have our working directory. Apparently it highlights when we hover over it. And when we click it, the path gets copied. Kind of a nice little feature there. So that kind of shows off this clickable TUI, giving us some features in here. Nothing happens when you this window. That's okay. This is still a nice, neat feature here. Down here, you'll see this kind of shifts and molds as we use the harness. There's just the shortcuts, which I I don't know if I'm using shortcut wrong, but when I do control period, it just does a period. So maybe I'm dumb and reading that wrong, but either way, I don't know what that's even supposed to be for shortcuts. But this shift tab will put you in different modes. So this is something if you use a coding harness, pretty used to. There's 3 different modes. There's the just plain agent mode, which we'll probably spend this episode in. There's the plan mode, which is a specific type of, I guess, mode that makes Grok take a step back from executing and take a little bit more time to think through what it's about to do. This is, a good thing to do when, in theory, when you need a real implementation and want to review the plan of attack before agent goes at it. And then there's what I think would be Grok Build's accept all edits equivalent, or always allow approvals, which is always approve. So my guess is that's not a blanket approval because I have seen a YOLO mode pop up. So this must be for anything that, when it pops up, you can say always allow. So a lot of times that's reads and make directories and yada yada. This will just put us in approving those always, which we're not going to, eventually we'll probably shift to that just to kind of not be slowed down so much by the harness all the time. But for this video, we're going to stay simple, slow. So that's kind of your initial setup. And now we can actually send a prompt. So first prompt, do series all Grok Build. Okay. So you'll see, and I guess I skipped it there. To send the prompt, you can just hit enter and send it off on its way, and then it starts working. So a lot has happened on just one little statement here. One thing you'll notice up here is there's some terminal actions. This will probably show up differently in everybody's terminal. But this is a flashing, hey, we need to do something. So if, maybe I'm tabbed off into something. This is a good example. I'm using the GNOME terminal and the built-in one on Fedora. And you'll notice that this is trying to get my attention. A lot of the harnesses will do this, so I know that a prompt or approval request is live. It's a little obnoxious. It'd be nice if it was just stayed like that instead of this alternating thing. It's kind of, I'm trying to read and got this thing in the corner of my eye distracting me. That's a little much. I get the idea. It's supposed to say you need to do something. If we look at what's going on, so when this is the approval box, which will let me do an always allow, proceed with just this one, or I can say no and say why. I can cycle through this with my arrows. I can also select my number. So if I just hit number 2, it gets accepted right away. And you can see that we did a little bit of work. Oh, I had my cursor on the... Yeah, never mind. I was trying to figure out why I couldn't highlight these. I think during approval, I could have looked at this. That was just a weird... My cursor was on a different screen, on my recording screen. But this is the first prompt. So we can see that the model has produced a response, Grok Build has, and there's a lot that happened. So one of the things we can do is I can highlight, or I should say, the actions it took show up in this nice little block here. They had this little bar here. I think that's to show off a grouping after a turn. And I'll have to watch that a little bit closer. But we've got kind of this group of actions that was taken in response to my prompt. And now when I'm hovered over this, I can hit E and it'll expand. We can actually get some insight into what was going on. So looks like this got off. wonder. So this is a thought that it had, and I bet if I hit enter, now you can see that we get, well, okay, it's still cut off. It looks like either the thought didn't go all the way through, or they just wanted to, you know, they're hiding the full thought process, or I'm not sure exactly what happened here, but it gives you some insight into what it's thinking. You can hit this little arrow here. I don't think you can, but you can hit enter. Nope, you can hit E. You can hit E, and you can get an expansion of what went down. So I ran this list dot command in my terminal, and it came up with a bunch of stuff. And I've already done some work in this repository to kind of get stuff prepared. I test drove it a little bit, so I knew what I was doing, and we built our thumbnail that you've probably seen for this video. So I did a similar list under a directory. It ran the normal ls. I wonder if this is a built-in Grok tool, maybe. And then this is your typical bash ls-la, so I can see all the hidden goodies in here too. Another thought process. The workspace is very new. Yada yada. This one looks like that. It's the same old. So it's definitely thinking more than this. And I'm not sure if it's intentional that they don't show us everything, but we get some of the thoughts. And then, you know, kind of just did a bunch of searching around. And then when it was done, it produced its response. So kind of, as a good LLM, it types up, this is awesome for us. One of the things I'm noticing now is when I highlight something and let go, this little copied shows up. So it looks like this is the way which this could get annoying. I know I'm a user. I don't know if everyone's like this, but I like to highlight as I read. This is kind of a tick of mine. Now I'm going to be overwriting things on my clipboard the more I do that. But that might just be something that I get annoyed about. Instead of explicitly hitting like a Control-Shift-S or something, the TUI is just making that an automatic copy command, which TUIs can be a little funky, so that just might be a behavioral choice that had to be made. It thinks our thumbnails look good. Branding's locked in, yada yada. This, maybe I'll explain this more in the next episode because I'm trying to keep these somewhat short. This was a customization I had in Claude, and I thought I turned them all off. But one of the things the harness you'll notice right away is it will import everything from, I'm guessing, Cursor and Claude. I know for sure Claude code. I have a codex set up. I have a Gemini CLI set up. I have an anti-gravity set up. Claude seemed like the only one that auto imported all of my customizations, which was kind of nice, except for trying to show off a brand new harness. It had polluted my workspace a bit, but it's a good feature for people actually using the tool. And now it's inviting us to go further on this episode series. So you'll see now, I'll kind of point this out, that when we click in these two sections, these are two separate windows. If you know, you want to think about that. You've got the prompt box that has these few shortcuts, and then you have the, if they have a name for it, the workspace or the terminal maybe. You've got your terminal here, and in your terminal we can do a lot more things. I can collapse, expand with E. I can open it in a bigger terminal by hitting enter, and it kind of gives us a nice pop-up window with a bunch more options. If we do the Shift T, well, I'm excited. I got to show. There's a mode for this. You'll see why in a second. But if I click back up in here, if I go Shift T, you'll see there's a there's a single response mode, so you can just look at your last one, or there's a look at the full history one. So that's kind of a neat little thing that they added in. JK is for moving up and down, so that's agent space. I guess I'm just clicking through the tools now. So K goes up, J goes down, and you can, instead of having to click around, everything's fully controlled. You can also control it with your arrow keys, right? So one of the things they did with this is they wanted to make sure you could use either your mouse or your keys. I saw that was one of the main advertising points, and here we can see it in action. I've got all the stuff I need to use my arrow or my keys, but then I also can click around as oh, like I can double click text. So yeah, that's kind of a first. You know, we didn't really do anything with the harness, but we showed off a couple things maybe, and I'm hoping, or I guess we're gonna build something in this, I promise, but I want to get a real base and kind of explore the edges of what they've set up for us. Maybe start, and so like the next video will kind of go into the customizations, because I think they did a cool thing with how they set that up that I get annoyed about with some harnesses. So we're going to kind of leave off here with 2 prompts sent. We've made it through our first prompts, right? Hello world is really just the simple, we did the basics. And yeah, so far you can see this is a mature tool. This is not, they just ship something and hope people are using it. So this is being shipped out to us as a real competitive tool. I'm excited to keep exploring it with you guys. So that is episode 1 of Grok Build Something Beta. And I hope you will come back next time where we will explore this harness a little bit deeper. Thank you everybody for watching, and we will talk again in the next episode.